everyone. I want to show you how to use Sign Up Genius to create an option for families to sign up for registration days, particularly if you have a lot of different registration days. So Sign Up Genius is a free website. You can pay to play on this website, but they do offer some free options as well. So I'm going to show you essentially with the free account, but you can consider basically registering for a month or two. It's not very expensive to avoid having ads and a couple perks. But they're not essential. So once you've created an account, you're going to create a sign up. And one of the things that's true when you create a sign up is you're going to need to have a group. The thing is that your group doesn't actually need to be accurate. So first you can go over to your groups and you can create a new group, and it can literally be an empty group. So we'll make this fake group right here. And we have no members in this group. That's a real shame. That's basically if we want to email people directly. We're not going to worry about that. And when you go over to signups, you can see the signups that you've created, but that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to create a signup. So we're going to create a signup, and we're going to choose our fake group because it's just finicky if it's not. And we're going to call this whatever, map registration or whatever you want to have it. I don't know that these categories actually matter. It's something that is just, I guess, helpful for them probably, but I've filled them in every time. And then you basically can choose a theme for your group, just kind of how you want it to look. And that's all you need to do kind of for the setup there. And then what you want to do is you want to figure out here whether you're going to be sorting by date or sorting by slot. So this is kind of really like a sign up website where people can bring things for like brunches or something like that. So that's sort of the like sort by date, sort by slot is depending on what kind of sign up we're talking about here. We are generally going to have ours as being sort by date unless you have multiple test hours in a day, and then you might need to figure out the sort by slot option. But we're just going to start by sorting by date right now. And you might have a handful of dates. Let's just have March. And let's say that you're testing every Friday and Wednesday in March, something like that. And you can choose, your starting times that you have for each of these slots, and you could have multiple times in the day if that's indeed what you're doing. You can make them the same, you can make them different, however it is that you're setting it up at your campus, totally your call. So we're going to go ahead and add all those times. And there we have it. We got our Fridays, our Wednesdays, and so on and so forth. You can add slots in here. So within those days, we might want to clarify whether it's a reading test. But we do want to be really careful that we make sure that we enter quantity. You want to have as many people sign up as possible. So choose some ridiculous number of people that can sign up. And if you're doing testing, reading, if students can test reading on every date, great. But if you want it to be that like they can only test on specific dates, you can choose like, oh, I'm not doing reading testing on these first 3 days. I'm only doing math testing. So we can save that reading test, and then we can do math testing, which again, we're going to want to make sure we have tons and tons of people that can sign up for it. And maybe we're, not math testing in the last couple of days of the month. It's however you want to do it. So you can save that there, and then you can see like if they're testing in the middle of the month, they can choose dates, but here they only have those specific options available to them. So we're going to save and continue from here. And this is really important too. You want to make sure that families are putting in the appropriate information here. So you're probably going to want to add a couple extra pieces of information, probably some custom questions. And so I have a limited amount because I've used some questions before, but a common question, right, that I like to use is, are you doing math or reading here? You can edit the question. So I want to ask if people are doing math or reading or both on a specific day. Probably wouldn't even offer both, honestly, in your case. So we have that question, and we might want to change this comment question. We're going to say that this has to be like student name or something like that. So we can update that, and we can make that required. We maybe don't even really care about their email address. So we have their name, student name, and then math, reading, or both. And then there's not a lot of perks that you can do with the free account. This swapping slots thing is kind of irrelevant for what we're doing here. You can turn on reminders for folks, which I think is probably helpful, so you can decide on that. And then probably the coolest feature I just want to sort of point out for these kinds of slots, if you have an upgrade, is just kind of messing with the limits of folks. So you might want to make it that they only sign up for 4 slots or something like that. Although that backfires when you have parents with multiple kids in the school. You might want to make it so that they can only sign up. They can't sign up for something that's past the date or something. So those are some mild options that you can mess with there that are really not that important. And then eventually you can publish this once you kind of set up those options. And what that does is it creates this this sign up link that we can use. Really anyone can use. You can share this with other folks, and then they can go ahead and sign up for slots. And so you need to communicate to your parents, hey, you need to make sure you sign up for a math and a reading slot, because some people might not pay a ton of attention and they can kind of do whatever. But let's pretend that this person was paying attention. They signed up for 1 slot for math, 1 slot for reading. And then they at the bottom have to click on submit and sign up. You can see all these ads around here because this is a free version. So that's something to just be aware of. And I can put in my student name. And they would choose, I guess we would actually, this question about math, reading, and both was relevant in the way that I'd set up this because I actually named the slots math and reading. So that's something just to be aware of. And they could click on sign up now. Oops, I missed something. Oh, of course, I didn't answer this question, so I'm doing both. And so what this will do is it'll tell them that they're signed up for those specific times. If you go back to your account and we look at your signups, you will be able to find that Bob Job has signed up for one of the 2 tests here. So that's another way you can do it. This is pretty clunky with Excel. You are going to kind of have to manually go off this list here. So just be aware of that. But that is how you can use Sign Up Genius.